Welcome back to another Explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely fascinating story straight out of a village in Shimla. On the surface, yeah, it sounds like your classic school trip gone wrong. But when you really unpack it, it's this incredibly profound lesson about survival, social class, and honestly, the true value of hard work. It's the kind of story that really challenges how we look at the people around us every single day. So let's kick things off with a pretty tough question. Have you ever been judged just based on where you come from? It's a heavy thought, right? But this question perfectly sets the stage for the ordinary world of our main character, a young guy named Sui. Imagine, just trying to navigate the already completely awkward world of middle school, but you're carrying this massive, invisible weight of social judgment before you even walk through the classroom doors. That's Sui's day-to-day reality. Section 1. The Tea Seller's Son. Suri's daily reality. To really get Suri, you've got to look at this totally heartbreaking contrast. On one hand, he's just a regular kid. He has the exact same desires as anyone else. He wants to hang out, play video games, and just fit in. But his actual reality? His classmates completely ignore him. Or worse, they actively make fun of him. And all because his dad makes and sells tea for a living? I mean, the isolation gets so bad that his dad sees how crushed Suri is, feels incredibly guilty, and actually starts looking for a totally different job just to save his kid from the daily embarrassment. Crazy, right? Moving on to Section 2. Journey into the Jungle. A school trip goes wrong. And man, things unravel so fast here. So the trek starts off in the afternoon, everyone's pumped, but by late afternoon, some of the kids in Suri's group start dragging their feet and just flat out refuse to keep walking. Now, Suri was actually appointed as their group leader, and he's begging them to keep moving so they don't fall behind, but they completely brush him off. But here's where Suri's character really shines. He shows absolute loyalty and refuses to abandon them. The catch? Because they stopped, by evening, their little group gets completely left behind by the teachers and the rest of the class, and before they know it, night falls. They are lost, totally alone, and absolutely freezing. Section 3. Lost in the cold, panic in the jungle. Now, they aren't just turned around in the woods. This is a rapidly escalating, full-blown survival situation. The threats are literally stacking up one by one. First off, you've got the very real danger of wild animals prowling around in the pitch black. Second, their food is practically gone. Third, and this is a huge one, they are completely out of drinking water. And to top it all off, these fierce, freezing winds start whipping through the trees, so they're staring down the barrel of hypothermia just as much as anything else. Naturally, total panic sets in. Some of the kids are absolutely terrified, thinking they're going to freeze to death or get attacked, and their instinct is just to blindly run into the dark. But Suri, he completely steps up. He steps right into that leadership role and tells them, we should stay right here to avoid getting more lost and to stay safe from animals. In the middle of absolute chaos, he is the one who calmly and rationally talks them down, literally preventing them from making a fatal, panicked mistake in the dark. Which brings us to Section 4, Snow Tea to the Rescue, a life-saving brew. And this is the turning point. This is where Suri uses the exact background he was mocked for to literally keep them alive. Since they're out of water, he gets resourceful. He starts gathering the freezing snow off the ground. Then, he pulls out a teapot and some tea leaves he had packed in his bag. And here's the kicker. The pot still has just enough residual heat left in it. He uses that heat to melt the snow, falling back on his practiced, everyday skills to brew a strong, piping hot batch of black tea. Handing that tea out to his freezing classmates, that is what ultimately saves them from the deadly chill of the mountain air. Right after they finish the tea, they finally hear leaves rustling in the distance. It's the teachers, the rescued. Once they make it back to camp, the teachers are praising everyone for staying put and staying safe. But then, a classmate named Aeon, a kid who previously wouldn't even look Suri's way, speaks up. He stands there and credits their safety and their warmth entirely to Suri. It is just wild to see the social dynamic completely flip like that. The exact same kids who tore him down for being a tea seller's son are now looking at him with total awe. He's their savior. Section 5. No work is small. A new respect. What those kids actually learned out there in the freezing jungle is this really beautiful concept called the dignity of labor. Simply put, it's the principle that all types of jobs deserve equal respect. No occupation is superior to another. Period. It took almost freezing in the woods for these kids to finally grasp that the humble, everyday tea-making skills they used as a punchline were the exact highly practical skills that kept them breathing when everything went south. And all of this builds to just an incredibly moving moment once they get back home. Suri's dad, who's still carrying all that guilt from before, proudly tells Suri that he finally found a new, quote-unquote, better job. But Suri stops him right there. He looks at his dad and just says, no work is small or big. He tells him to keep his job. For the very first time, Suri is genuinely proud. He's proud of his heritage, he's proud of those tea-making skills, and most importantly, he is proud of his dad's honest, hard work. As we wrap up this explainer on Suri's crazy journey from outcast to hero, I want to leave you with something to really chew on. How do you show respect for the everyday workers in your own life? Whether it's the barista making your morning coffee, the folks cleaning the streets, or the delivery driver dropping off your packages, every single job brings value to the table. Every worker deserves dignity. Take just a second today to recognize all those essential, behind-the-scenes skills that keep our world spinning. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, keep learning.